Not gonna lie to you. This line is clever. I'm not gonna lie to you. This line is clever. I'm not gonna lie to you. This line is clever.
All right. What is up? What's up, chat?
Going
Welcome.
on.
How y'all doing tonight? We're back.
Good. What's up, Aura?
Got
going
the
on?
boys here tonight. Got the last relic. Got Aura. About to get into some stuff. So at the top, I want to actually share this because I was looking through the BAM map website and I thought that this would be, I don't know if you heard about this or like, I'm sure you probably did, but did you see this? The August 4th update. Brandon Best's voice is on the recordings hidden inside the photos.
What a loser.
And these,
Wait, what do you mean?
The photos that Crystal took.
Brandon Best's voice is hit. What do you mean
It's
hidden?
in the back. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Aura.
No. Because I was like, I think she also made video of like, the stuff as well. No, did she not for posts?
Well, I believe so. I believe she took the. I'm guessing she probably either she might have hit the record button, right, for some of the. But she was taking photos of some of the stuff during the night of the store seizure. She might have actually recorded some video, right? Yeah. So this is what that is. Now we got to give a shout out to us. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was like, you could take still photos from like a video. I mean, it's easier sometimes, like for a mass thing.
Yes, and I guess what happened was she did take some videos, right? So there's a couple of those, and it's the night of the store seizure, but also want to bring the attention. So apparently, Aussie Insider and our boy, the Punk King,
nice,
was looking into this stuff to verify it. So this is the update on August 4th. It says Brandon Best's voice is on the recordings hidden inside the photos. The voice on the seizure night recordings is Brandon Best verified by this site, which we knew that from Crystal's Ring camera recordings, right? But also now we have a second, kind of verification here through Crystal's own photos and also short videos. So this is a recordings pulled from the released photos, hashed and payload validated. Now, The reason this was all validated is because apparently these photos were, I guess, they were put out, I believe, by, I want to say they were put out at some point, I think, on what's this cat's name? CoffeeZilla's Patreon. I think people
Okay.
downloaded them and whatever and started to comb through them, I believe. But we would have to get Pumpkin to verify, because I think Pumpkin's a patron. So it says the photos. So these are the recordings pulled from release photos, hashed and payload validated. The photos from the night the Kaiser store was seized had sound on them, and this site has confirmed whose voice it is. It is Brandon Best, the man Bam installed as the store's new owner. He is on a recording made inside the store the night it was cleared out, talking in the window. It was being emptied. The photos were recording him the whole time. The outgoing owner is on the same tape. The voice is Brandon Best. This site has verified the voice print. The male voice caught on the hidden recordings is Brandon Best, the incoming owner of Kaiser Store. The man this site identified at the Kaiser counter a year later, saying he owned both this store and the one in Eugene. With the recordings put on the record is straightforward. He was inside the store speaking during the hour it was being emptied on November 14th, 2024. Nothing here is a finding that he or anyone unlawful. It is a matter of who was in the room and when. So here's the video.
What's what, and less likely that this is. What's what, and less likely that this is.
So you hear him on the phone, and now this is something that you guys remember when we interviewed Crystal. She did confirm that almost the entire time that Brandon was there, he was on the phone with somebody, presumably, probably somebody at corporate, right?
Corporate.
Because he was kind of giving a play-by-play. Remember what Crystal said? She said he was giving kind of a play-by-play of what he was doing,
Yeah.
or what she was doing. Like he was watching her. Oh, right now she's doing this, or this is happening, or whatever.
Mhm.
So it says the live photo was taken 7:54, 37 p.m. Pacific. Yeah, we already read that part. My bad. Brandon's Best voice is in the few seconds of video that still carries. Hosted exactly, extracted original metadata intact. And then we have the same voice isolated and raised for clarity from the faint background of the clips, enhanced for listening. The site's identification rests on the underlying recordings, not this playback copy.
What's what, and less likely that this is.
So that's all we heard is, the same thing. So Crystal Law is on the same tape. The recordings also caught Crystal Law, the outgoing owner, whose store whose store it still was the afternoon, and who is photographing her own inventory as it was boxed. She confirmed as much herself in the chat of Aussie Insider stream. The photos are hers. Two owners are on one night's recordings, the one losing the store and the one taking it over, captured minutes apart on the same phone. So here's another one. The live photo was taken 7:53:28 Pacific, November 14th, 2024. About a minute before the clip above, Crystal Law's voice is on it, hosted exactly, extracted, original metadata intact.
So, but if corporate things.
Okay. So we are just how it was found. The pictures in the November 14th dump were not ordinary stills. They were live photos. The phone setting that quietly saves a few seconds of videos with sound around every shutter press. Apple calls it a version of a live photo. Samsung calls it motion photo. The catch was that the images were more than images, came from independent commentators covering the case. Aussie Insider and the Punk King, shout out to our boy, who pointed out publicly on Aussie Insider's live stream that the pictures carried hidden video and audio. The site did not originate that observation. It verified it by pulling and validated the embedded clips directly out of the image files rather than from a screen recording of them. What the recordings hold. Of the 214 photos in the owner's set, 56 carry a full video and audio clip embedded inside the JPEG. 55 of them unique. Together, about 133 seconds of hidden footage from the night of the takeover. Every clip with its original sound. The clips were extracted byte for byte, checked against the payload stored inside each source file, and fingerprinted with SHA-256. So the chain of custody is provable. Each clip's opening still carries the phone's own timestamp, placing the footage in these 7:43 to 8:02 p.m. window of November 14th, 2024, the same window the record documents for the seizure. These clips are hosted exactly as they came out of the photos with the original metadata intact and nothing stripped or altered, published with the owner's permission so the timestamps and provenance can be verified independently. The video carries its own record of what was on the shelves across the set. The phone sweeps the store's box Star Wars sets and open bins of individually bagged price tag minifigures in Bricks and Minifigs branded bags, and besides one bin, a large storage bag holding several smaller minifigures bags consolidated together, each still carrying its own price tag. The live photo taken at 7:44:20 p.m. Pacific, November 14, 2024. The camera passes over bins of bagged price tag minifigures and a larger bag holding smaller bags of them together, hosted exactly as extracted, original metadata intact. So let's watch this real quick. It's only 2 seconds. So we have that. Why it matters. 2 things make this more than a curiosity. First, it is contemporaneous. This is not a later account of that night. It is sound and video from that night recorded automatically before anyone knew there would be a lawsuit of which version of events would be contested, and it places the store's new owner inside the store as it was emptied. Second, it was hidden in plain sight. The clips were not leaked or reconstructed from fragments. They sat inside images that had already been released and looked at as ordinary photos complete the whole time, simply never opened all the way. The clips also settle a small provenance point. The 56 live photos all come from one device, a Galaxy S23 Ultra, which the other 152 photos in the same set come from a second Samsung in S22 Ultra, 2 phones documenting the same night in parallel. In fairness, this site is confirming who is speaking, not putting words in anyone's mouth. The spoken fragments are short and background cut, and the automated transcript is not reliable enough to quote as a verbatim record of what was said. The audio players above are raised for clarity from very faint originals. The timestamps are the phone's own clock. Read as offsets, not an externally certified time source. And this account proves what is inside these particular copies of the files. If any clip had been stripped before these copies were made, that is a question only the original phone or an earlier export could answer. So basically, we just have another piece of the puzzle here. We have another confirmation that, there was that Brandon, obviously, I mean, we knew Brandon was there, but this further obviously corroborates the original videos that Crystal had shared as well, right? It just further validates that. And and what she said when she spoke to us, right, in regards to Brandon being on the phone. So now I'm real curious to see what else is in those photos.
Are they all live photos?
So it said that there was about like a good, I think they said like 50 some odd of them. Let me go back to it real quick.
Wait, and what are these sources of these photos? Did Crystal send them in? Did somebody else get a hold of them? Was it the lawyers? What's going on?
I don't know. We'd have to ask. You know what? I'm gonna hit up Punk King right now. We're doing it live, folks. He's
doing
here.
it live.
He's here. He appeared.
Oh!
Say his name and he appears. Punk King, you're muted. What's up?
What's that not be pumpkin?
Great time.
Oh,
Punk
there he
King.
is.
Great find, my friend. Excellent job.
Oh, thanks. That was all. Ozzy's the genius. She's the one that got all that. I was just along for the ride.
He's the humble king too.
So wait, was this the source from Ozzy? Like, what's the source of these photos? Like, who got them from where?
So these are available from CopyZilla's file dump. If you are on Patreon, you can look at them there. The original sources of the Gorman photos are them, and so we were able to verify the devices, the cameras model, and like everything about the camera that belongs to that device model matched. So it's from their cameras. So it's not just like, okay, where do we get the files? It's, hey, there's provenance in these. We know where they came from.
Okay, yeah.
Wow. I mean, so this is saying there's something like hold on. I think it was down here. There's definitely more of the. So it says 56 carry a full video and audio clip embedded inside the JPEG. So, but obviously they didn't share them all here. Were you able to hear the rest of those punking?
Yeah, so Ozzy went through all of those on her stream. We did take some detours along the way, but the very long stream has all of them. I think the majority of the relevant things to that story are on there. Where, and this is something I say a lot regarding is there's like I don't like the word evidence, but there's practical evidence. There's practical like detective work you can do with these. It's not just, hey, look, there's these timestamps and we know the technology and how to verify them. It's also they're very close together. And something that she had pointed out is if you were to fake things like that and you were to be competent enough to get at least close, it would still take a long time. There should be longer pauses in between the things that you create. And the other piece of that is you can follow that around the store. So you can do a little bit of detective work if you find only the photos that belong to that camera or to the other, phone, to that phone or the other phone. You can follow their movements, and it's consistent. They're moving around the store. So, but the other piece, and the main thing that I think that article is really talking about is that you can hear people. So in order for that photo to exist, I think it's the very first one there, that both, now that should be Crystal's phone, both she and Brandon have to be present to create that photo / video.
Yeah.
So it has to be the 14th or another day that they're both together in that room of that store, which doesn't exist.
It does not, yeah.
So
the only other time that we know of that Brandon was in the store was when he was secret shopper, but he never went to the back.
Right. And the other thing there, and this is a little bit of inference here, is that specific photo, there should be the safes to the left. They're not on frame. You don't see them. You don't see like the outline of them anywhere. And I really wish that you could, but that appears to be the room with the safes in it, meaning Brandon was in that room. Brandon was in that room with her while she was taking pictures of the safes. Yep. So he has, I don't want to use the words is and has, like, it is improbable leaning to impossible that he doesn't know about the safes. It's improbable leading to impossible that he doesn't know about the yellow stickers.
You see it right there?
And then all down the line.
Yeah, you see, you literally see yellow stickers right here. Look.
Yeah, like
right
I'll tell you what, like Brandon he takes his time, like looking through over everything. He knows what comes in now. Like remember, like I point this out a lot. Like at my store, anytime we got in a trade, the next day, if it was a really good trade, he'd call up the store, and then the manager would have to take all the good stuff and send it to the Eugene location. Like he when he did the inventory at my store, he took like a good 4 or 5 days to do the inventory. And so like he knows what's in that store, everything.
He was shopping.
Yeah.
He was shopping. He was shopping for his store.
Yeah.
He was just taking his mental notes.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at this here, right? So here's the other thing. I don't know if you saw the interview that we did with Crystal Punky, if you had the chance to watch it, but she said, when I asked her on the thing, she had said that before she left, she basically left everything in the back open. So everything was opened in the back before she left that store. All the save, all the stuff that was in the cases in the back, those were all open. Everything was right, basically right for the picking, Well, and that actually came up because there's a couple things, and you can actually, if you take two of the videos side by side, and I think it's within about within like 2 to 10 seconds of each other. This photo and a previous one, she's removing something from the safe to take a picture of it, or moving things around things in the safe to take a picture of it. Yeah. And then it appears something is set on this table to take a picture of it. So that places like the open safe. It places him in that room, places him seeing things move in and out of the safe. And it also places being aware of these specific items. Yep. But the other thing that came up was the keys, because
The photos that that Brandon provided, there's no metadata to them that's meaningful because they're like recreations. It's been speculated they're screenshots, or they have been copied to another media or another program or something. But wherever they came from, all the original data is stripped away. So we don't know their origin. But we do know he takes a picture of keys, and he takes a picture of a lock, and it's next to some of the sets that he's taking pictures of. It may be on this specific table. I don't remember. I'd have to go look at it again. But this weird wire table has a lot of pictures of it between the two of them. Yeah. And this weird wire table, as far as I've been able to tell, is in the room with the safes.
Yeah.
So that it corroborates. One of the things I bring up a lot about this is it corroborates the consistent things that have been said. Yeah. And I remember the consistent things that have been said. The Gormans have been pretty consistent. I remember them better than the inconsistent stories because every time a new thing comes out, it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense, and it's hard to commit to memory.
But well, yeah, the more people lie, the more consistent their story gets. If you're telling the truth, it just gets even more consistent.
Right. Yeah, and this validates a lot of that, including she did hand over the keys. He had the keys, and you can see him take a picture, or you can see a picture he provides where he's got the keys.
Yep. The thing is, too, is again, yeah, and he was aware of where, again, just I know I'm beating the dead horse here, but yeah, was aware of the fact that everything in the back was open. You know, everything was left open. But here's the thing: I'll these set numbers. I don't know. Can you make them out, Relic?
75037.
What set is that? Because I can't really see on. It's kind of blurry up top here.
Yeah. So it's I believe, is it a Naboo set? Here I can type it in. The middle set is a bullcrap set. It's a sequel. It's the Force Awakens set. No need to worry about that. It's
it's
worthless. It's worthless. It's worthless. Yeah. Let me. So 75037.
You don't like Force Awakens, aren't you? A ray of sunshine.
Shut up. Yeah, that is actually a really nice set, mainly because of the minifigure, the ARC Trooper in there. Yeah. It's a good one.
So it's a good thing. Crystal's in the chat. Hey, Crystal. It's a good thing too that was something that was found because again, it also, again, I don't know if you're here when I mentioned this. I mentioned the fact that you had told us when we did the interview that Brandon was on the phone. He was on the phone with somebody while he was there talking to somebody. You could clearly see him holding the phone, and he's obviously talking to somebody. He has it on speaker, but he's talking to somebody. I presume somebody at corporate, right? Because he was given kind of a narration of what was going on.
Well, I don't know if Crystal can confirm. Crystal, like, obviously don't say anything you shouldn't say, but like, do you know who he was talking to at least on the phone, since he was talking on the phone the entire time?
Crystal, this is an opportunity for you to be hilarious. You can answer this hilariously.
How?
How? Like fucking regular show, bro. Come on now.
Oh, my bad. I don't watch regular show.
That's okay. It's over anyway. I almost said canceled. It finished anyway.
7-5. Is this 75125 or 126?
Yeah.
Because it can't be 125.
Yeah, and to add to something that Punk King said earlier about, the metadata, and the lack of metadata provided by the the bricks and minifig side, that being Brandon, right, in this particular instance. That's something that I had.
That's weird.
That's something that I had mentioned before. When we first saw CoffeeZilla's video, because it's like I found it interesting that that the metadata and stuff was mentioned for Crystal's photos, but never once it ever came up for Brandon's, which again would lead me to speculate that they don't have it or they just never provided it at all.
Yeah.
To Coffee. And it doesn't sound like they ever did. So,
yeah, and something to say about this in general. I keep talking about these like more general like detective things. So I started out looking at these, and I did ask Ozzy about this of why why some of the pictures appeared to be out of order. And we got an answer to that. It was 2 separate devices. And once you separate them out to the individual devices, which you can do with the metadata, then, hey, they are in order. But then I started looking at some other stuff, like on Brandon's photos, at least one of them, you can see possessions that belong to the Gormans. And so at least that photo should have been that night. But there's literally nothing else telling you when the other photos were taken and what events have happened between before and after those photos are taken. And so with the ones that we were able to analyze, there's other events you can use to verify. There's other videos, there's other statements.
Yeah.
And so there's things you can use to kind of corroborate that with Brandon's photos, there's like nothing to corroborate.
Yeah. Well, that's again, and that's always been the biggest issue with, their side of the argument, right? Because again, there's a point. Remember what Josh said, right? Josh Johnson. Oh, the store was empty. There was hardly anything in there when we took it over. That's one of the arguments that they try to make. There was nothing in there. Then there was Legos, and then but then there wasn't. The store was empty. So. Now, I'm assuming these sets right here, because I'm seeing some of the prices on some of these. These are obviously higher end sets. I'm sure these were kept, and I'm sure Crystal can answer this. Were these ones that were kept in the safe, Crystal, or locked up somewhere in the back? And Crystal said, Brandon did provide one photo that was taken in the office, and you can clearly see my sweater and purse. So there you go.
It's funny.
But... What's up, Rubate? Welcome to chat. Tyrannosaurus Rick, welcome. Appreciate you guys being here.
Okay.
But yet,
What's going on? Oh yeah.
Yeah, these are. And the table. I just want to go back to this thing because I find this all interesting here. This table right here. Now, and maybe again, this is a question you can answer for me here, Crystal. I'm assuming this thing. Looks like is this some kind of bin that you have here that's full of
it's a table.
Brian's Legos? It's just table?
It's a table. That table usually was used, it's an older table that a lot of Bricks and Minifigs used for ball figures.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's an ugly looking table, but like everybody kind of has it.
I see. So it's kind of like, something that just locations have.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
So Crystal says, yes, that's in the safe in the back room. So, again, it's just like everything that comes out, everything that's found, like I said, just does not look.
You know something. So I was in the chat of Echo Base Network stream, right?
Yes.
And Nick pointed out that like, man, he's so tired of the Bricks and Minifig stuff. He's starting to feel like it's the whole Disney Star Wars thing over again, where like,
but if corporate things,
like where people are talking and like Kathleen Kennedy is never leaving, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, and I started feeling that a little bit, where it's like I'm kind of sick of talking about Bricks and Minifigs, and I think people just want this done.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But
well,
and yes, it is important that we're still pointing out. But that's why I was like, I've been so critical on the Lego community, because it's kind of up to them. Like as much as we report on and everything, like the Lego YouTubers, like it's really up to them to keep it alive overall. And they haven't
because
done
that's
that.
their base, right?
Yeah. Because I pointed out, like I criticized M&R Productions a little bit, like not too heavily. Like I think he's a good YouTuber. I think he's done a lot, but like as somebody who like actually got to talk to Am and Matt on stream when this whole debacle happened, at least on YouTube, and he's gone to grand openings. He was one of the people that like obviously didn't know, but he bought Brandon's sets. He made a deal with Brandon Best of buying this Star Wars collection, and they were confirmed to be Brian's. I believe. I'm not sure.
Right.
And it's like, like you don't have to change all your content, even make a video, but like a comment every now and then, or like during a live stream, like just be like, I don't really like what's going on. It hurts the community. So just something. But like everybody's shutting up. And I heard recently that a lot of them signed NDAs. And
I believe it.
Yeah, and Beyond the Brick, a pathetic channel, which I guess I'll point out now. But yeah, they suck. That obviously the content is boring as hell.
Exclusive.
Yeah, exclusively crap. But but yeah, they're still doing the garbage content, and they're not speaking at all. They have over 90 videos of store tours of bricks and minifigs, and it's like you think they don't know something? You think they're not gonna like at least have an opinion? Like, come on.
Do you think by inadvertently staying quiet, or at least advertising, or doing content positively or regularly of bricks and minifigs, do you think they're inadvertently helping bricks and minifigs?
Yeah.
I don't think they are particularly helping.
It's kind of a fucked up
I
question.
think they're
technically, yes.
damaging. They're damaging. I guess the story, but they're not helping bricks and minifigs, right? I think they're damaging like the positivity going towards Reckless Ben, Crystal, and Brian, and Ben. I mean, and Brian as well. And it's like
Right.
you guys should be on top of this, being like, hey, look, this is something really crappy happening to our community, and our community is all about happiness and stuff. So like, when these rare occurrences happen, like, we should be on it. It's like, you have, obviously I'm not like a massive YouTuber or anything, but when you start like talking, and you somewhat have a responsibility when you're on YouTube. If you talk about Marvel, if Marvel makes a crappy movie, you kind of have a responsibility to point that out. You don't just
That's
get
how
to be
things
the,
change,
like it's like cool, like maybe you don't want to talk negatively, but then if it keeps happening and you were kind of a part of it, maybe you should say something. Maybe you should say a lot of things. You feel me?
Yeah.
Don't watch Shang-Chi. It's not that great.
So I want to, real quick, I want to
Not great
answer
at all.
something that Rubate asked. He said, if any of the sets here match the assembled sets in the Eugene store sale. Yes. I could confirm that. Yes, they do. Because I just, if you, on the BAM map site, I mean, it shows, especially 750.99 is one of them. And you can see it right here.
Oh,
it's the second one.
Let me ask this. Sorry,
right
my
here.
bad. It's something that just came up in my head. Crystal, I believe you did a video with Beyond the Brick, and I think they took it down because I couldn't find it. Like, you did a store tour with them. Let me know. Please let me know in the chat, because I couldn't find your location anywhere on Beyond the Brick.
Yeah.
But I do remember you did like a short or something with them, but I don't know.
Yeah. And just real quick, right? These 3 sets right here are ones that were for sale assembled.
Yeah.
These 3 right here, these exact 3 that Crystal took a picture of were assembled, were some of the assembled sets that they sold. And here, I'll show you right now. Like, if you look at the set numbers, let me bring them up again real quick. They're kind of blurry, but you can still kind of make them out. 751 looks like 35 right here, 75099, and then we have 75037. These 3 sets were ones that were sold assembled.
Yeah, and it like they promoted, but yeah, but it's a good thing that Crystal pointed out, because I think I was like having a Slack memory, because I was like, I remember seeing a video with Crystal and Beyond the Brick dudes. But yeah, did you post it on Slack when you did the TikTok video? Because I'm not on TikTok. I know I saw it, but yeah, okay, like, so you never did a tour with them. Cool, because you probably had to pay like anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000. She says right there. Yeah, you have to, like, the store appearances. They make like right there. Crystal says they make like $6,000 per store appearance.
That's wild.
Ooh,
Yeah.
That's crazy.
what am I doing with my life? Like,
Freaking nothing.
Dead ass, bro.
And remember, they got like 90 videos. Like, maybe some of them were cheaper, but like, if they got 6,000 from all 90 of those stores, that's like $540,000, almost $600,000 right there.
Oh, man,
That's crazy, man.
I gotta go to church or something. This ain't working.
Just so you can see here, Rubate, see? These are the sets that were in that picture that I showed earlier, or video, really. The same 3 sets, yeah, they were sold assembled in that sale.
Yeah.
So,
Is it possible? Can we go back to that picture that has Brandon in it? Because it's really funny that a couple things came out pretty much right after this stream where this, where we were able to reveal this.
Yeah.
That's absolutely crazy. So, yes, we have audio. We know Brandon is there. We have people are able to say, hey, that's his voice. That appears to be his clothes. That looks like him, right?
Even the way he holds his phone. He holds his phone like that all the time. I hate that guy. Dude, I remember, I have like such deep memories of like I have a pretty good memory.
He's reliving it.
And I can remember people's mannerisms, stuff like that, like voice, like that. There's things that like I could hear a mile away. I'm like, oh, I know which bastard is a mile away from me right now. Yeah. But anyways, go ahead.
Brandon's giggle from a mile away.
Oh, dude, no, I would be able to hear his stupid. By the way, it'd be like supersonic hearing because like he talks like he giggles so quiet. Even his laughs are like.
Does he do that? I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna say, tell me if I'm close. And does he giggle like that?
No, it's like. And he just shows his teeth like that, yeah.
When he laughs like Little Wayne.
Yeah, he laughs like Wayne.
And Josh's laugh is like like a freaking tar, dude. Like
it sounds like someone drowning. That's the noise I made when
dude,
I was drowning.
I wish it was that sound. I wish it was that sound.
No.
All right.
You don't just have a good memory. You don't have a good memory of it. You have the best memory of it.
What?
You have the best memory of it. So what I was getting at is in the interview with Brian that was released on Reckless Ben's Patreon, and this is according to that interview. So I don't think a lot of it has been corroborated, but according to that interview, when he went into the store a week later, he was told, "Oh, is that Crystal? I've never seen her before." But we have here a photo of him, and now audio to prove. Or to make it, pretty much impossible that it's not him. Yep. He is here. He is with her. That's her phone. She appears to be operating her phone. Her voice is audible in some of the clips. So if he did make that statement to Brian, that is an element of him lying just immediately. And
so,
one of the things I keep talking about of like, would you tolerate an employee of anything doing that? Like any franchise.
Yeah. So breaking news: a liar has lied.
Yeah.
Word.
Like I said, like I said before you popped in, this just further corroborates everything about it validates the Ring camera footage as well. And the night of the store seizure, the fact that Brandon was in fact there. Brandon was not just in the front of the store, also came to the back room. So again, it all lines up. Everything that we've seen that's been put out there.
I don't know, boys. I don't know.
Yeah. It's
all causing mental illness, bro. This is mental illness.
Well, that's actually one of their claims, that they were not in the right headspace, so you can't.
Well, that was Josh's claim, right? He's just, when it came to.
Well, we don't know what claims Brandon has made because he's been very quiet.
Yeah.
Quiet Brandon.
Silent Brandon there.
Shit's taking over my life, bro. Like we were at work today, and all I did was talk shit about like Eamon and Josh because I hate them.
Yeah, this is true. You did.
We were at work today, and I'm like, John, I fucking hate them. In the break room, I was crashing out. Again, I need a break or something. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please go ahead.
Go ahead, Punky.
I'm not making fun of you with that. That's actually the baby is right here.
Oh, okay.
So, one of the crazy things that happened.
Actually great timing.
One of the crazy things that happened was, do you recognize Josh's voice? So one of the crazy things that happened is the police report just happened to come out like right after the interview with Brian came out. So this idea that he went in on the 21st, that Chris reports things. He goes by Awkward Begets Awkwards on Reddit. He got a copy of the police report from the 21st showing that Brandon, Josh, and Brian were all in the same place at the same time on the 21st. So they were there that day. And I know that's not huge, like this huge bombshell. I try to be careful with that word because I don't want them to be like, oh no, that's a threat. But it's not this huge bombshell report. But it does say that they were there. It corroborates part of his story. and there's actually a BAM map update about things that corroborate his story. But it's just crazy that police report came out, and it's like, yeah, part of Brian's story is definitely true and provable.
Yeah. So I think this is what you're referring to, right, Punk King? He called to ask if his Lego was still in the store. The police warned him.
No, I think it's an earlier one than this, but this one also corroborates a bunch of things as well. If I can see, I'm on the phone, so I have to zoom in here.
No, you're good. You're good. If you want to send me the link too, I could always look it up on the. You said Chris reports things had put up the police report.
Yeah, I think if you go, that Brian Mansell fact checked. You just scrolled past it.
Oh, did I? Oh, here it goes. Here it goes. Every claim holds. Okay, so it says Brian Mansell fact checked. Every claim holds. Most of them on BAM's own documents. The load-bearing claims Brian Mansell makes on the newly posted call check out against specific documents. Most of them filed by BAM. Then we have corroborated. The claims not yet on paper are supported by independent evidence gathered a year later. The recording itself, posted by Reckless Ben on August 5th, 2026, timestamps below are to that recording. The answer is that accountability and integrity must run both ways. Bricks and Minifigs, July 10th, 2026. 3 weeks ago, this site measured BAM's statement against the record. Today, the measurement runs the other way. Fact check. Reckless Ben has posted the recording of the first time he ever spoke to Brian Mansell, a 3-way call from spring 2025, made before Ben had ever driven to Oregon. The full recording is on his Patreon. Below, the same test this site ran on BAM's statement and on its consignment claim across 4 versions. Run on the man BAM sued, same method, opposite result. When this site checked BAM statements, the load-bearing ones left the record, 1 unsupported, 1 false against the court order it praised, 1 that changed 4 times in 7 weeks. Here's the test applied to Brian Mansell, claim by claim, with the timestamp where he says it. It comes back the other way, and the reason is almost funny. Most of what confirms him is paperwork BAM filed in court itself. 9 claims checked, confirmed. He picked the store because of the brand. I knew Bricks and Minifigs because they were a nationwide chain. BAM's own 2026 franchise disclosure lists 212 outlets across 40 states. The consignment walked in the door on the strength of the national brand, which is uncontested and is worth remembering every time the company calls what happens a matter for one store. Confirmed. The trial run at a comic convention the end of 2023. It started in technically the end of 2023, November, with a trial batch at a Comic-Con. His memory is off by a few weeks, and the correction comes across from BAM's own exhibit. The sales ledger is filed in court, opens on September 22nd, 2023, with 11 high-value tickets across exactly the 3 days of Rose City Comic-Con 2023. Their own register dates his trial run. Confirmed. The contract, 65% to the family. Title stays with them, basically telling them that they get 35%, we take 65%. The agreement is in the court file because BAM put it in there, effective November 22nd, 2023, 65% to the family, and in its own words, consigned merchandise shall remain the property of Mansell until sold. Every term he recites from memory is on the page. Confirmed. She's no longer with the company, and the corporation took the store. That is how he says he found out, calling the store when the checks stopped. That's kind of a private matter, but the corporation's taking over the store. In a call, the outgoing owners recorded the same week and later released, a BAM corporate representative says in one sentence, Brandon is taking over the store and the franchise agreement is terminated as of now. 2 recordings, 2 sides of the counter, 1 fact. Corporate read the contract and called it good, then pointed him at the departed owner. Comes at about 15 minutes later and says, yeah, it's a good contract, but unfortunately we don't know anything about this. She took your stuff. You're going to have to go after her. The same company later filed that good contract as its own exhibit, and its ledger filed alongside itemizes the collection. The contract covers row by row. The document they said they knew nothing about is the document they filed. Do you have something to say about it? Go ahead.
No, yeah, no, I've been just trying to look here on my phone. So, what was the consensus after the cease and desist for the um the BAM map, right, that we're reading from? Because like what I'm trying to figure out is like, are they trying to, obviously, like, for, to me what it looks like is like they've kind of cleaned up a lot of how they have been writing on the BAM map to be more lawyer like, right?
Mhm.
So like, are they trying to make sure that, like, you know,
Well,
they're not presenting it as fact, or like
so
what happened there? Like,
well, no,
yeah,
BAM. If you look at the BAM website, they've always kind of they're just presenting
yeah,
what is out there and confirming it through just whatever else is out there. They've never, and they always make a disclaimer towards the end of their post to say like, if hey, this is, if it's a fact, it's like it's based off of this and this and this and this that validates his claim.
yeah.
Or if they're not sure, they make sure to kind of
Let you know.
use generalized, let you know, and use kind of generalized language so that they don't,
Gotcha.
so that they don't say anything is 100% true. Like even with
Yeah.
the cease and desist, they didn't really, they kind of, they don't say outright like we're 100% sure this was bricks and
Yeah.
minifigs, but I mean, but there's been
They
no
they they should
refutation.
have like this on the left, right, and then more wording on the right that's like translated to plain English, like douchebag has lied, instead
Yeah.
of like a paragraph. And then it's like, all right, like,
Liar.
this is the
Or
statement to keep them
TLDR.
out of getting in trouble, and then this is like how we can read this much quicker.
Oh my god. No, yeah, you need to put it in TLDR mode. Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Yeah, so
bro.
there's,
That's what it says.
Because I feel like we've been reading, like, well, not we, you, John.
Yeah.
We've been
Hell
reading
yeah,
like the
John.
same thing for like a good
yeah.
5 minutes. I'm like, did
Well,
you
that's
just like
the thing is,
say the
yeah.
same thing for 5 minutes straight? There's just been one sentence for 5 minutes straight, said in a different way.
there are there are two features on there to help with this. One, those data labels, those are meant to be, if it's confirmed, it's linked to a document of some sort, and if it's corroborated, it's linked to a statement somewhere. But there is a translate mode on some of the stories at the top. It's called the BJC translate mode, which was done for that purpose.
That's so funny.
It was
Yeah,
funny
to
because I
summarize
thought
it, basically.
I think I misunderstood Relic at first. I thought he said that, what is it, Bricks and Minifigs use the BAM site to see how often they've been retarded, to stop doing the same things over and over.
Well, that
I thought
too,
that-
you know,
They
because
have
it's
to be
like,
aware of it, so.
because it's like, you know, their cease and desist, like, oh, so you just want to confirm that all this is true? Nice.
Well, it's like, what is it? Brandon
Way
turned
to
into the
go.
seat of the U-Haul, and he's like, that was retarded. Like, fucking, like,
It's
I
like, oh my
shouldn't be
gosh.
doing-
Well, one of the funniest parts about the cease and desist is they sent it the same day that the BAM map responded to Legally Mime's fake cease and desist. So there was a fake cease and desist, and then they sent theirs just to make sure they looked as funny as possible.
That's fun.
That's fucking crazy.
These guys. So it says he asked to inspect his own inventory and had the written right to. You need to let me in the back and let me see the sets that you still have. Just clear your name. Let me look. The contract BAM filed gave him that in writing. Brian Mansell shall have the right to inspect such records and the remaining inventory from time to time. The
John,
answer, he just what?
Rubate has a question for you, and I would like to know your answer.
Let me see. We need to drop the idea of the McNexus. Do you honestly think that if they had no idea Josh and Brandon were skimming, said gentleman wouldn't have had an accident?
I have an answer for this.
I would
But you
like
go
to
ahead,
hear-
John. I know you would like to hear, Aura. Relax.
No,
This
see,
isn't the
thing
break room, dude.
It's not.
This is always the
It's not
break
so
room.
much. It's not so much that the McNeffs are innocent. I don't think they're innocent at all in any of this. I just believe that it's, the possibility can exist that they might have been ignorant to the fact that Josh or Brandon were skimming, right? If they are skimming, right? Because that's another thing too. We don't know for sure. Is it possible that Eamon knew and just didn't care? That's also a possibility, right? Maybe he knew and just didn't care, but at the same time, it's just like I don't see that as being. I don't see how that helps Eamon either. So it's just I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like there's no way to know for certain. I could only speculate on it. Honestly, it's
Are
just,
some people trying to like claim like the McNeffs were innocent,
no,
are
no.
an
I don't.
innocent party to some of this
No,
stuff?
I don't. I don't think that's what it is. I think it's I think what Ruben is saying is like that they had to have some kind of knowledge. And the thing is, and maybe they did, or maybe they didn't, and maybe that's why they finally parted ways with Josh. Maybe it took this situation for them to realize, oh, these guys were skimming. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I don't know of any other instances, Relic, or maybe you do, but I haven't heard of any other instances where Josh and Brandon were sent to rescue stores outside of you and Crystal's. Right now, if there's more, I would love to know. If
I've
there's more.
heard there is more. I don't know which ones. Kind of.
See,
Like I think they again, there's owners that had dealings with Josh and Brandon. I don't know the extent of it. From some of the owners I talked to, I don't know the extent and the length because they were very quiet about it. So remember, Echo Base Network had a few videos come out
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago about like even some owners being scared for their life to like
Yeah.
even talk
Yeah.
about bricks and minifigs, you know? So it's like there's this thing where I got to talk to some people, they got to talk to some people that, they kept the information so vague. I don't know what state they were in. I don't know which area, which city they had, like their territory, nothing. Like they just let me know about certain things. But yeah, like they were obviously like remember they were traveling quite a bit at the time they took over Crystal and mine because mine happened a month after. Like almost exactly a month after. And they were taking flights here and there, and they were always separate. Josh and Brandon were always separate. So I don't know if Josh ever went and did like a store takeover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
See, I guess another thing to ask would be like, because again, if they were dispatched to other stores as store rescuers, okay, so we have at least two instances, right, where they came to a store, that being you and Crystal, right, where they came to a store to rescue it, but those
Yeah, yeah.
stores, ended up, in your case, your store ended up being closed. In her case, her store ended up being completely seized. So I'm wondering if there's other instances again where they go and if others I would like to know if there's other stores that they went to where they went to rescue it and that store's either ended up in worse shape, right, that it either ended up in financial ruin or it ended up getting closed.
Oh, they
because-
all ended up in worse shape for sure. Like Crystal stores ended up in worse shape. My
Yeah,
store ended up in worse shape. Like two is I think is enough for them to look at it.
yeah
But like I could confirm this. When Matt called me to tell me he's gonna come after me if I'm gonna tell my story, right?
Yeah.
June 1st. When I pointed out the things that Josh and Brandon had done, he claims he wasn't aware. And
did he sound
claims
genuinely surprised, or do you think he might have been lying?
okay, like I don't get into that territory because I refuse to.
Yeah, it's hard to know. Yeah, there's
No,
way
no,
to-
no. I refuse to like even try to give them any ounce of credibility
yeah
because it's like I'm not gonna play that game in my own head where like they could be lying. Like I'm just gonna state the facts of this is what he said. Now, I can say like what it sounded like. He sounded like a human being over the phone. He did not sound like Ammon. He sounded more calm. He sounded frustrated. I don't care if it was true or not. That's not what I'm not gonna say what I think her feelings were, right? But objectively, that was the tone of voice. When I said about like how they left me $500,000 in with the lease and in debt, he claims he didn't know any of that. Right in that phone call. So, and I'm not gonna say who I talked to, and I can't remember if it was on stream or if we were off stream, but there was a good point that was pointed out in the legal side of things that like, let's say Josh and Brandon were skimming off the top, they were lying to Matt and Ammon, after, for the time being, the Matt and Ammon kind of have to be on Brandon and Josh's side because they took it all the way over here. And then
they're still responsible no matter what.
Oh yeah, you're still responsible. You back them up.
Yeah.
You're also like Josh and Brandon most likely didn't write the operations manual that was approved by Matt and Ammon. You know, like they still lied about all this stuff and kept doing stuff, right? So if after all this is over, if the McNeffs come out somewhat unscathed or something, and they want to go after, let's say we find out that like the main culprits, like Matt and Ammon are just full blown retards, and they like just kept lying to try to help out a friend, which would be Brandon and Josh. If they wanted to go after Brandon and Josh, they would have to explain to the court of why they were on their side, and it's still not going to look good at all. So there's not a good chance of winning that either.
Yeah.
Against Josh and Brandon at this point, like they can't really do anything to Josh and Brandon at this point. So now again, to answer that question, it also doesn't matter. You are the CEO of the company. It shows more negligence if you find out that these guys that you trusted were stealing from you.
Yeah. Well,
like you sent thieves to people who you thought were thieves, and they screwed those people over.
Yeah, and that's
that's on you. Yeah.
And just to make a distinction here, because I see what you said in chat, Rubate. I don't believe that Matt and Eamon are innocent, right? It's not a matter of, because obviously at the end of the day, here's the thing: whether they knew what Josh and Brandon were doing, or they didn't know what Josh and Brandon were doing, the buck still stops with them because they're the guys that run the company. So the thing is, they look bad no matter what, whether they knew or didn't know, because they're either grossly, negligent and incompetent, or they're just straight up scumbags that just lie to cover for their friends. Right?
Like Ammon still made those threats, said to the police about all that stuff. That wasn't Josh and Brandon telling them to lie about that stuff, right? Like Ammon was the one that called the police. Matt is the one that looks better. Okay, it's possible that even out of all four of these guys, like Matt is out of the loop in most of this stuff because he keeps tripping over his words. He keeps finding out that like Ammon contradicted him. He keeps finding out this stuff that he's supposed to know apparently, right? Like, so it's possible that Matt is blindly loyal to all these guys and doing all this stupid stuff, but he's still complicit.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
No
matter what.
I see Eamon and Matt as Rick and Morty. That's fucked up. Yeah. I see like fucking Eamon as Rick and fucking Matt as Morty. Like, oh jeez, what are we doing today, Eamon? He's like, shut up, Matt. Let's go.
First race war, huh?
Well, that's the thing. Like I said, no matter what, it still looks bad for them because again, whether they were just oblivious to what Josh and Brandon were doing, again, that's still bad business because they should have been paying attention to the guys that they were sending into these stores and seeing what they were actually doing and stuff like that, or being much more structured, right, with how they do these store seizures and the process and all that. So either way, like I said, it looks bad. Either they're grossly, negligent and incompetent for sending these guys that they obviously couldn't trust to do these store seizures that weren't prepared to them, or that were sneaky and underhanded, or again, they're in on it too, and they're just lying to try to cover them up. But like I said, either way, it looks bad for them.
And it's important to point out, because this, I'm not just reading Rubate's question, but this question kind of encompasses everything. Like all the stuff they've done, even if they are dishonest, they've done it in the worst way possible.
Yes.
Maybe they would have done something scummy to Crystal as they did, but as soon as they found out Brian is involved and it's like a customer's, sets, it's a customer's has $200,000 investment in all this, then you want to make it right. And then they should have, and I'm not saying that Crystal did anything bad, but what corporate should have done is been like, yo, okay, here, we're gonna make you whole, Brian, here you go, no scandal, and then go to Crystal and Ben and being like, okay, where's the sets? Because we just paid out this guy and we need to see the inventory list. Like, you confirmed it, Brian confirmed it, cool, here's the money. Okay, now Crystal and Ben, show me the sets. Awesome. If you can't find the sets, then investigate. Go and see, like, okay, Brandon was there, like, hey, Brandon, you're a buddy of ours. It's all good, whatever. We just need to look at everything you did. We need to look at the warehouses. We
Retrace
need to
the
look at your
steps.
store. We need to retrace all the steps because until we find this,
Something's not
everybody,
adding up.
everybody's a suspect. We're gonna get the police involved. We're gonna get all this involved because we don't want to go after Crystal and accuse her of doing something if you did something or somebody else was involved and did something. Okay, so let's handle this internally. Obviously, that's a smart way of doing things, even if you're a piece of garbage. But what did they do? They're like, no, we want to hold on every penny. We don't care. We're just gonna screw over as many people as we can.
Yep.
And obviously, Ammon and Matt were either complicit in all this and knew everything that was going on, or they just didn't care and trusted these guys so much for them to do whatever they wanted.
Well, that's the thing
You know?
too. But remember how they handled Brian. They just they were dismissive of him. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Even after Brian's sitting there sending emails, his lawyer is sending them emails, and they basically are just like, "Fuck off." The matter's closed.
Yep.
They completely dismissed the guy, and then you have Josh and Brandon say, we weren't going to give him his stuff back, but then we decided not to because he kept calling the store too much. It's like, you guys banned him from the fucking store. What else is he supposed to do? It's like, yeah, you've left him no other recourse, but somehow, and then it's somehow Brian's fault. That's just like that's ridiculous, man. It's and this is why, again, everything that they've gotten publicly, they absolutely 100% deserve. All the backlash.
Yeah.
They 100% deserve it, man. They didn't put their best foot forward and try to really resolve this. You know what I mean? They try to be dismissive of it. They try to sweep it under the rug, hope it would
Silence
go away.
people.
Silence, and just completely ignore people, thinking that it would just go away.
They put their bare foot forward.
Yeah,
Oh,
there you
yeah,
go.
ask Josh.
There you go. So
I hate that guy.
So
Fucking
why
hate
didn't
that
they
guy.
quietly break 4 legs and sort internally? Because
we just answered that. We just answered that. Like
I think
that's why.
Exactly,
'Cause they're stupid.
They were friendly. They're dumb, but also these guys were friendly with them, so they probably wanted to give them, as much grace as possible in this situation. And
on the human side of things, like, I think everybody here in this panel, we've all like given the benefit of the doubt or like trusted a friend of ours so much because we have a history or something, and then found out after they screwed us over, and we vouched for them that they are pieces of garbage.
Yeah, I mean, because look, Josh and Eamon have a 20+ year history, obviously.
Yeah, they could have been like boys at one point. They could have been super honest guys at one point. Who knows? Somewhere along the line, especially you see it in adulthood. Anybody who's an adult, you see some of your siblings go down the wrong path. Some of your cousins, whatever, friends that you guys were like super tight with in high school, and then like sometimes you'll see that on the worst cases, like you'll be walking down the street and they're passed out drunk on the side of the road, and you haven't seen them for 5 years.
Yep.
And you're like, oh my goodness, guy was a D1 athlete, and then I see him right here.
Yep.
Like, so it's like that kind of stuff. Like at some point along the line, both of these dudes changed, and whenever that was, they still trusted each other because they thought of each other as they did when they first met, right?
Yep.
And
as honest, they saw us here. There's honest, reliable buddies.
Yeah.
So,
like, we could speculate all we want about like who manipulated who's lying to who, but regardless, all 4 of these people are a problem.
Yep.
They lied individually to people. They contradicted themselves. They contradicted each other. Brandon's the only one that's really been quiet, but Brandon was involved in all this. Honestly, I think if we saw Brandon talking, we probably would have hit mediation like last month.
Yeah. Well, think about this.
Yeah.
But also think about this though too. The few times that we have heard of even Brandon talking, he's also lied. In the few instances that we've heard of, right? Punking just brought it up earlier, right? The stuff that Brandon had said, and again, that contradicts what we know. What the evidence is.
Evidence.
Yeah, the evidence.
I'm sorry.
Right here, the evidence.
I don't know where that came from.
I know where it came from.
Moment, bro.
It came from deep within. I know exactly where it came from.
Yeah.
Word.
But I'll go
right from your nuggets.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So,
There's also a piece of like this, they've lied about this and this and this. Early on, there was this question of, are they the owners? Or are they not the owners? Are they employees? Or are they not employees? And so as the body cam footage was coming out, we were hearing, like Josh would be like, I'm an employee. I'm an owner of the store. I'm an employee of the store. And at one point he's like, I work for
corporate.
And nobody knew what that meant. And
he said he worked for corporate too. Remember?
Look,
that's another thing he threw out there.
By the way, if you look up Sunbiz here in Florida, all LLCs have to go through Sunbiz, right?
Yep, that's true.
On Sunbiz, you'll see Baker Bricks, Wesley Chapel LLC. Okay, when they took over our store, the last month, me and all my employees, including the manager that they hired, had to change their W-2s to the corporate W-2 because they claimed they never owned the store.
Would records show otherwise?
Yep. And so, yeah, and then they said that, oh yeah, we like when it came time, apparently like the story was when it came time for them to sign after they sabotaged the entire place, they butchered it, they gutted it, they and BAM was like, all right, like this is your store now, like when are you guys gonna sign? They're like, actually we don't think that location is great anymore after 7 months of ruining it, right? And then it took them a month for corporate to shut it down because of you guys already know the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that was their claim. And then I even pointed that out to Matt McNeff over a phone call, and he's like, that is 100% not true. So it's like, yeah, well, obviously at this point I already know they lied. Everything that came out of their mouth when they talked to me was a lie.
Yeah.
But like that's what they told me, man. So like have fun with that. And that was June 1st, and then I told them like to get rid of these two, and they did the next day. And then it came out publicly on June 4th. But like, I didn't care. I'm like, I'm not trying to help you. I'm just saying, like, if you really are a good person and you truly didn't know about all this, you guys need to stop everything right now, fix the situation, because you guys have that power, and get rid of these two liars, and then apologize to the public. And obviously, we're here today. They didn't do any of that other than separate themselves.
Yep.
Which,
we're at.
yeah.
So I guess the police report's not on this article. I thought it was. So I put it. I sent a link over. But
okay.
What I'm saying with them, this nebulous bit about employees owners, keep that in mind if you're going to go through this police report, because you're going to see that taking artistic license with those terms was a common thing when they spoke on to this police officer.
Interesting. Yeah, it always and that doesn't surprise me that they would. So I'm gonna bring it up in just a sec. Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, you good. And which county bunking was this police department that he spoke to? Like, was it in Utah? Was it in Oregon? Where was it?
So this is related to the Kaiser source. This is the Kaiser Police.
Yeah,
I
okay.
actually don't remember what county that is. And there's actually a couple reports. So another one came out today. I believe it's also with the Kaiser Police.
But do you know how many times they talked? Like Brandon talked to the police?
I don't know exactly. I know that in the one that I just sent over, the police spoke to Brandon and Josh first, and then they came out to talk to Brian. And I believe the order of events in the report will corroborate that. And then the second one that came out today was related to like, I think they say telephonic harassment or something, where Brian was calling the store. And so they speak to police in that instance. What I don't know, because I don't know if they've ever been released or not, is the first investigation, which is with the one that's like 3 pages. And they talk about in that one video that Reckless Ben put on his Patreon, where he's talking to the chief of police. But then there's that second report where they're like, oh, we went through and we did it right this time. I don't know that that's ever been found either. So I know that Chris Reports thing has put out a comment about looking for them, but I don't know that they've been found yet.
Damn. Well, Aura, you've been quiet.
Yeah, I'm here.
You're like,
Containing my rage.
I'm just not trying to. You're like, I'm just not trying to use any racial slurs today.
I'm trying, yeah, something like that, because I get into my feels and shit like that. Last time I was like, oh, what about everyone else's family, and I'm trying not to do that a little bit. Just trying to chill out.
Actually, this is a good time to ask you guys both this. Like, are you guys tired of covering the bricks and minifig stuff? Are you guys kind of like feel gassed out?
Um,
Like not like gassed out, but it's like obviously you feel important to like keep talking about it, which is great. But like, are you guys like, man?
so I will say
know.
this. I will say this. It can covering any story at length for a while can be very draining,
Tiring.
especially when there's so much information coming out on different platforms, and even like
Mhm.
it's like this right here, right? I don't really check Reddit. It's Reddit's not really something I use, but from time to time, I mean, I've checked it for stuff about this when it's been brought to my attention and stuff like that.
Okay.
But it can be draining and stuff like that. But at the same time, the goal is, again, I think about the goal, and the goal is to make sure that it doesn't die, and that there's going to be accountability. You know what I mean? In the hopes that
Yeah.
there's going to be accountability. That's the motivation to kind of keep going with it, because I want to see how this plays out. What's going to be the result? You know what I mean? And look, I look at this and I'm like, I know that there's always the possibility that the results might not be what I would like them to be, what I would prefer them to be. It's very
Word.
possible that, look, and I've said this before on past streams, even though people say, oh, for sure, Ben's going to win the case, nothing's ever for sure when it comes to cases that go,
Definitely not.
that go to court. Nothing's ever. Now, I hope, that is my hope, just like everybody else. That is my hope that I think that he has a strong case. I think that I have a feeling that he will prevail in court. That's the hope that I have. But at the same time, I am not 100% certain that that's what's going to happen. I could be completely wrong. But that's what I hope happens, right? And my hope also is that American Fork Police Department faces some kind of, accountability for their part in this, and to a lesser degree, Provo, right? And to it, especially if there's more stuff that comes out about Provo that we find out that they've meddled in a lot more than what we previously thought, right? I want to see accountability for Provo as well, at the very least for the detective that was helping Eamon out.
The skank.
Yeah, and like this is a real concern, right? This is a real concern that nothing will happen and they just continue business as usual. But again, I also kind of look at it like this, right? Me and Oro, and this is actually how me and Oro met, was going over a completely different case, and that being the Vic Mignogna case.
Yep.
When that ended, it turned out, Vic had his case dismissed, and then he lost, he on appeal, his appeal wasn't granted. And I remember that a lot of people took that as a loss for Vic. But in the end, looking at it, even though he might have not prevailed in court, the people that people can look at it and say is like, well, the other side won because Vic's case was dismissed. That's one way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But them winning didn't really get them anything. Getting Vic's case dismissed didn't really help them in the end, because
they're more into obscurity than he is, which is crazy.
Yeah, he's still much more relevant than they are. They're much more, those people that Vic sued, even though he lost right? They're in relative obscurity now. They're not in a better position now. You would think they would have been in a better position because they won. They didn't. They didn't end up being in a better position. They're in more obscurity than I think they were even beforehand, than ever. Nobody cares about them when those people go to conventions, because it was other voice actors that he was suing. When they go to conventions, they don't draw people. Nobody pays to really go see them. They may get a couple of people to go see them, but whereas Vic, when he goes to conventions, he still gets lines of people that want to see him, take a picture with him, get his autograph and stuff like that. So in the end, people can look and say, well, Vic lost his case. It's like, but who really lost in the end?
That case loss, John, was a big gut punch, though. That was one of the instances, because it seemed surefire. Like he was definitely going to win.
Yeah, so. and we had hoped that was going to be the outcome, and it was disappointing. But at the same time, if you look at it, it's just like he might have lost the case, but he kind of won in the end, in a sense. And again, even if my point when bringing that up is that
John, it was a big case. How much money did they raise? 300K, 400K,
like 500,
500K,
like that, I believe. I think it was like five.
For the voice actor of Broly, John.
I think it was either 500K or just under 500, but it was a lot of money.
A lot of money.
And you know, looking at like Ben's case, right? Worst case scenario, right? Ben somehow doesn't win in court, right? Somehow Bricks and Minifigs pulls it off, right? I still think that, yeah, that would be terrible for Ben. That would suck. But at the same time, I also have to look at with other past cases where it seems like somebody lost in the end. And I've said this from the beginning. I still think in a lot of ways Bricks and Minifigs loses, right? Because then I think that they end up looking like a much bigger bully if somehow they end up winning in court, right? Because people are going to be like, oh, look at what this multi-million-dollar corporation did to this guy who just makes YouTube videos that's trying to like help people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always going to be that dark cloud that's going to follow them in regards to how they handle this stuff publicly. There's going to be people that are going to make sure that nobody ever forgets, right? They're always going to bring it up. So this is going to follow them. Eventually, yes, things do fade and people probably will forget, but there's still going to be people to remind others of the stuff this company did. I think at this point right now, there's damage that they've done to their brand that I don't think they'll ever really recover from.
Not fully, I don't think.
Not fully. And that's what I believe. I mean, like I said, even if people forget, I don't think they'll ever fully, you know, in time when people forget, like years down the line, when people start to forget, I just don't think they'll ever really recover from this.
Well, it'll
never be the same.
Yeah, to answer your question, I don't really find it the topic that's tiring. It's the time to keep up with the topic is more my problem.
That's hard.
Especially like we usually try to do shit daily to try to keep up, and that shit is a lot. So hard, if we had time, I feel like it'd be more easier, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing too. When you're juggling full-time jobs and with this, go ahead, Punky.
If only there was a Twitter account somewhere that summarized this all into text so you could read it real fast.
You're an amazing person.
You're the man. Honestly, we try, man. We try to keep up.
Twitter sucks. I hate Twitter so much.
Yeah.
But Punking is great, though. Punking is great.
I hate Twitter.
Yeah.
No.
That's fair. It's fair.
So this is this I guess is that police report. It's got redactions on it, for obvious reasons.
What are those reasons? Well, it's not obvious to me. What are you talking about?
I mean,
I'll tell you in private chat. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Gay stuff. Okay.
It says here
sensitive information.
Caesar's a consignment contract listed and had an agreement with an employee. Employee no longer works at LLC, and now, they're using a lot of abbreviation here, saying that they were not aware and are not liable. So these are a lot demanding officer response. Okay, so let's see what it actually says here. So it says 11/22/24. So yes, about a week after, right, or a little over a week after. I called and spoke with the complainant, Ms. Mansell and Mr. Mansell. Mr. Mansell explained he and his father collected a bunch of Legos through the years, which accumulated a collection worth about $150,000. Mr. Mansell said he signed a consignment contract with the previous owner, Crystal Law, of Bricks and Minifigs, where Ms. Law took possession of the collection and sold them on Mr. Mansell's behalf. Mr. Mansell said there was an issue with Ms. Law giving him a paycheck this month, so he called the location only to find out that Ms. Law was no longer with the company. Mr. Mansell spoke to an employee over the phone who advised his collection was missing from the location, leading him to believe that either Miss Law stole his collection when she was parted from the company, or the new owner were lying on the whereabouts of his property. Mr. Law requested I speak with the new owners of the company about his belongings and arrest Ms. Law for theft. I guess they meant to say Mr. Mansell. I guess that's the typo there. I arrived at the location and spoke with two reps for Bricks and Minifigs, Joshua Johnson and Brandon Best. Both explained Bricks and Minifigs was a franchise, and this location was owned by Ms. Law due to multiple issues: poor finance, lack of paying rent, and owing hundreds of thousands of dollars to the company. Ms. Law was removed as the owner, and they took over to clean, quote unquote, clean up her mess. Both Mr. Johnson and Mr. Best stated they had not been in contact with Ms. Law because they did not know her whereabouts or a good phone number to call her. They believe Mr. Mansell's collection was indeed missing, and that Ms. Law, man, fuck these guys. I'm sorry. Fuck these guys. They believed Mr. Mansell's collection was indeed missing, and that Ms. Law took the Lego collection when she left. When clearly you see in the video she didn't take anything. All right. Mr. Best said Mr. Mansell went to the location earlier today and presented them the written consignment contract and briefly skimmed it over. Mr. Mansell arrived at the location wanting to check the back room for his Lego collection. Ultimately, Mr. Johnson advised he could not give permission for Mr. Mansell to go to the back rooms and rummage through for his collection. Mr. Mansell and his wife were incredibly frustrated, believing that the owners had something to do with his Lego collection missing. At this point, there is no probable cause to believe theft had occurred, as neither party can confirm nor deny what exactly is missing from Mr. Mansell's collection, and nor is there any obtainable video which documents Ms. Law stealing Legos from the store. I advise Mr. Mansell to speak with corporate on the matter and get written consent to come look for his items. I advised him to be civil in his decisions, refrain on acting on his emotions, and push the new owners to new limits where he could be trespassed from the store. NAF at this time. And that's what we have for that. Fucking liars. Sorry. Yeah. Liars.
What's new?
Yeah. It's just wild to me. It's just like, again, because you would think, even if, right, let's say you're the new owners, right, and it's just like this guy wants to come and see the back room, you don't know what's going on. Again, even just for peace of mind, what would be the harm in just letting him go back there and look, especially if you're with him? Just for peace of mind, right? Just say, okay, yeah, sure, look, you said they were in the back, come on, let's go to the back. Right?
Right.
The whole resistance to it is what is, I think the biggest telltale sign, the absolute state of them just not willing to, entertain or anything, just even just to say, like, again, they could have been like, look, you can see for yourself, there's nothing back here, or if there's stuff back there, it's like, okay. But again, they didn't. I say this again. This is just me speculating. Don't know this for a fact, but as I said before, they didn't let him back there to check, obviously, because there was nothing back there to see, because it had already been taken out. That's what I believe. It was already gone, so there was nothing to show, regardless.
A point I make related to that is there's a lot of discussion what happened on the 14th. And a little bit of what happened on the 15th, but this is a whole week later, and I was surprised. Maybe I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was surprised that Brandon was still there, because my impression.
Brandon will take a flight, like he'll take like 3 flights in a day if he needs to.
Okay,
like, they got money. I don't know where it comes from, but this dude can hop on a plane next day and be somewhere.
Sheesh.
Like he could, or like if you tell him like I need you here, like he'll hop on a plane. I'm not saying that I ever said that, but he, like on a whim, he'll just be like, okay, I gotta travel here. He's had like he's been in like 2 or 3 different states in one day before. Yeah, so it's like
seeing, like I said,
yeah.
Even if like right. Even if we look at the U-Haul stuff from that night where allegedly the U-Haul was returned at like midnight, which it's said that's around the time that still gives him time. That still gives him enough time, especially after getting there after the store closes, to load it up with some stuff. You know what I mean? Maybe not enough to fill it, right? but enough time to fill it up with some things and still make that trip back and return the U-Haul
Yeah.
at around midnight. There's still plenty of time there. You know what I mean? For him to grab some things.
And it doesn't have to happen on that day. Anything could have happened any day. Like we have 2 time stamps right here. We got 11/14. We have 11/21. Anything could have happened in that week, but anything could have happened over the course of a year or more than a year.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. One of the things that really bothers me about the inconsistent stories is they're always presented as this non sequitur of like, well, if the U-Haul didn't show up at this location and stay there for 3 hours, therefore the collection wasn't stolen. No, those are 2 completely unrelated statements.
Yes.
And it's always presented that way. If if you can't find the timestamps on these photos, therefore the collection wasn't stolen. If there is no, the conclusion that's always provided is never related. It does not follow the premise. And that's the thing that drives me crazy is if it didn't take 3 hours, it didn't happen is what is presented. If he took one thing that night, it's still it's still a thing that could have happened.
Yes.
It doesn't. The thing people are trying to discover whether it happened or not is not whether or not he took everything. That what they're trying to discover is where did it go and how long did it take, or is it still there? Like the questions are not we know this exact thing. We're trying to disprove this exact thing. We're trying to disprove a lot of things to see. Okay, well maybe the stories they told are true. But we have to go through and try to disprove all the other possibilities to be able to accept them or get more evidence. But that anything that starts with, here's your premise, and if that premise can't be proven 100%, then therefore this entire thing didn't happen. That's insane.
Yeah.
You see, Punking. The problem is that what you're saying is logical. These people don't know what that is. The police, all of them. They don't know what the freak you're talking about, man.
I'll explain what non sequitur is when the opportunity arises.
But that's one of the things, like I said,
We
right?
took PR classes.
I'm of the belief,
What's a civil right? My bad. Go ahead, John.
Not necessarily that everything was taken out of the store that night, right? But at least,
all the good stuff.
I think all the good stuff. There was plenty of time to take all the really expensive stuff, for sure. You know what I mean? There was plenty of time for Brandon to do that, put it in the truck, and head back and still be back in time to turn in the U-Haul at 12:41. Now there's another timestamp for the return of the U-Haul, which is like at 6 a.m, right? Which again, we don't know, right? I believe that one might be a little bit more likely because of things that people pointed out, that it would have to have been through phone verification, all this stuff.
Yeah. Preach, brother, preach.
But let's say this, right? Let's say it was 6 a.m. the next day that he turned out. That would corroborate the quote unquote disgruntled ex-Eugene store employees account of taking stuff out of the U-Haul truck that night, right? And it taking hours for it to be put into the store. That would corroborate that, right? So, which would mean that Brandon, loaded up a lot more than just maybe the expensive sets, right? That could also lead to that conclusion. What I think, like I said, either one can hold. Either one I think is a viable outcome. Either he took the good stuff right that very night, which is that's a possibility, right, for him to return it at midnight, or he took a lot more than just the good stuff, and that also again corroborates the disgruntled ex-employee's account of what happened that night if it was turned in at 6 a.m.
There's a third option that's like never talked about is maybe he intended to take stuff and didn't, and then arranged another thing. Like it's a wide possibilities that if we want to believe the story that's told of he didn't take anything or nothing was there, well, then we do need to start disproving a bunch of other things. And one of those things is, did he intend to take things and then not take things? So why do you show up in a U-Haul?
Yeah, exactly.
So if the intention was there, that's even a point that's important.
But he could say, I just like driving U-Hauls.
Yeah,
it seems like
which doesn't make any sense because again, when you show up to a Relic store, they did take stuff. You know what I mean? Why would you bring a U-Haul? Why would you bring something that guzzles that much gas and just be like,
when he showed up to our store, like he we would have to take it to FedEx or something. So it was like spurts. It wasn't like he didn't just show up in a U-Haul day one or anything like that.
Yeah.
Now, when I look back on it, I think they didn't expect me to stay. And so that's probably why they didn't shut it down first day, and just destroy it. But like it was the only like trucks and U-Haul showed up on, like when they actually shut it down. And Brandon and Josh were apparently no longer involved. Apparently, is what they say. But then corporate says they were, and they handled it. I can't even tell you which one's which. I could tell you, Adam Brimhall was at the store cleaning out my store, and had trucks, and then took it to other spots, and then there was a U-Haul at the store.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, stuff
So-
like so Josh never showed up to my store in a U-Haul, or Brandon either.
Okay.
But Bricks and Minifigs showed up.
They love them U-Hauls, man. But, so we'll do a bit of we could, if you guys want, we can continue going over this, or we could do a bit of a palate cleanser and go over a little bit more of Ben's interview. But before we wrap up the stream for tonight. 'Cause
Ask
this
the
is something-
chat.
Yeah, what does the chat want? Do you guys want us to go a little bit more over this right here, or save this for the next stream, or would you guys prefer us to see more of Ben's interview? One's in the chat for the BAM map stuff here. Two's for Reckless Ben's interview with Channel 5, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
What you guys prefer? 'Cause we spent a lot more time on this than I thought, so but that's fine. No, I think it's all interesting stuff, and again,
Hell yeah,
Punky,
that one.
great stuff, man. Great work you and Aussie Insider did on this.
Yeah,
So-
thanks. To answer the question we had earlier about like is this something that's kind of is the steam wearing out? Getting into the nerd stuff like really makes me go, hey, there's more to do, and I'm really
Yeah.
excited for different types of nerds who can look at these numbers and put them together, and then look at the spreadsheets and start to like figure out what's what and where's where. I'm really excited for those people to pass the ball to those people to do that. And there's more stuff happening to be able to get to that point. So I'm super excited about like the tech stuff to do here. But anyway, thank you.
No, you're the man. You're the king. All right.
The Punking, actually.
Yep.
Let's put some respect on that name, you bastard.
All right. So let's see what the people have to say. So let's see here, and then but for the meantime, I'm going to read this over. Corporate read the contract, then called it good, then pointed out, then pointed him at the departed owner. So we had this, and then we have. All right, so here we go. He asked to inspect his own inventory and had the written right to. This is confirmed. You need to let me look and let me see the sets that you still have, just to clear. So we're getting 3 for me getting a beer. That's what a roommate said. The contract ban filed gave him that in writing. Brian Medsell shall have the right to inspect. Okay, we saw that. Let me tell you what's going to happen. If we go to court, we're going to drag this thing out so long that you're going to end up spending so much more money than your collection is ever worth, or what you ever would have gotten on it, that it ain't worth it, man. Yeah, I want to know who exactly said that to him, if that was Josh or Brandon.
It wasn't either.
It wasn't either of them?
That was Kai, I believe.
Okay. He called the attorneys.
Yeah, we had that phone call. We saw it. Like that.
We know Kai said this to Crystal, but remember, this is when Brian went into the store.
Brandon.
So Brandon said this. Okay.
So when Brandon went into the store, this is
when
what
Brian
Kai
went into the
said.
store. Well, no. This Kai said this to. Well, Kai said something like this to Crystal, but apparently when Brian went to the store, he said one of them told him this. I don't know if it was Josh.
I'm pretty sure we have this recording in one of Reckless Ben's video to Brian. I think it might be the first one.
Well, I don't think there's a recording of it. I know that this is what Brian had told Ben, but I'm guessing it could have been either or, right?
This clip
sounds
is
like
part one, and it's Brian recounting it, and he says,
Yeah.
and I've actually been meaning to ask because I think it's Josh who crosses his arms and says this,
Yeah.
but I don't know for 100%. But if you watch the whole thing, you can see it again, and he says, in the whole thing, he starts to explain like they wouldn't let him in, and they might have said this on the other side of the door, but they cross their arm and then they say this thing. So this is Brian recounting.
Yeah. So again, we don't know who exactly says,
Okay.
but I can see either one of them saying this, right? I can see Josh or Brandon saying something like this. It says he called the attorneys. The attorney said exactly what the dude said to me that night: $60,000 to $70,000 to freeze the store. More with appeals against the collection the family hoped would net 60 to 80. The math was the message, and the math was accurate. The store still owed him the money when it was taken. So we'll go over the rest of this on the next stream, but we'll do a little bit of a power cleanser. We'll go and watch a bit more of Ben's interview, because you had told us about this relic,
Grace.
that he kind of he had changed up some of his perspective. So let's see how that comes across. So here's Ben's interview with Channel 5.
And I get to ask him whatever I want. So that would solve this whole thing, Deposition.
So this is where we left off, where he's talking about deposition, which again, I would love to see that. Would love to see deposition, but I'm not sure if it's going to get that far. I'm still not convinced it's going to get that far, but I would love for it to get that far.
It's kind of like that, where if they lie, I think they go to jail, or it's like criminally, like they literally cannot lie in a deposition, and I get to ask them whatever I want. So hopefully it gets to that point where, because then like my dream would come true, where we're like both strapped to like the lie detectors, because the TRO kind of destroyed me. It sucks. Well, I had like all these videos ready to post, and then they hit me with the TRO.
So the TRO is what kept you from telling the story for a while?
Yeah, that's why I just kind of went silent. I was just like, hey, it's illegal for me to talk. That's why I kept referring to him as a mystery company.
This mystery company that I'm no longer allowed to talk about.
Because part of the TRO was I couldn't say anything.
When he's talking about people, see me,
your mic, dude. Your mic.
Could you guys hear me? Hello.
Yeah.
I thought that was my internet. Shit.
Hold on, it's kind of disconnected. There we go. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's talking about people lying. In deposition, I mentioned this last stream too. You have to answer in deposition, but there's kind of shitty ways for people to get around it by saying stuff like, I don't recall, but they have to answer every question asked. And the thing is, obviously, if they lie, what Ben's talking about is them, perjuring, committing perjury. You can still get a trial, because deposition is almost like a preview of what you can expect to see play out in court, how lawyers are going to basically question people when they get a chance to in court. So kind of the rules apply kind of the same as well. You're basically expected to tell the truth. If you don't, yes, you can. It is possible for you to go to jail for lying. But like I said, there is ways for people to get around answering a question honestly, which kind of sucks. But there is ways to do it by saying stuff like, I don't recall, or things like that, which is
can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah, they can neither confirm nor deny, or whatever. It's
Plead
just
the
like
fifth.
they can play those fucking games, which I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see if it does get that far, that they try to play those games of not answering questions straight, or playing stupid, or being like, oh, I don't recall that, or saying dumb shit like that.
Anything about bricks and minifigs, but I could talk about a mystery company, because then no one knows what I'm talking about. Even though they did know what I'm talking about, I didn't talk about them. So I just said, like, I'm not allowed to talk about this mystery company, and yeah.
All right, now I want to talk about something before we keep going, because it actually relates to this story quite well. So as per Reckless Ben's coverage, the Mancells had nothing. They had a problem, a stack of paperwork, and no way through it. But then, out of nowhere, came Ben. 6.5 million people who watched his videos, a fundraiser, new lawyers, and the entire internet deciding at one time that they cared about this situation. And I will say, whenever the legal stuff began happening to Channel 5, a lot of you guys showed up for us too. And I will never take that for granted. So seriously, thank you guys. But here's the thing I keep thinking about and realizing. Fundraising legal defense funds is a beautiful thing, but shouldn't necessarily be the plan every time. Because as a public figure, it was a bit easier, but many of you guys are not. And if you ever go through something like this, and plenty of you will, the question is not who would you want in your corner, the question is who would actually come to help? For almost everybody with a job, 2 kids, 5 roommates, and a pesky landlord, the answer is probably nobody. Most people don't have a YouTube channel. Most people don't have millions of followers. But what almost everybody does have is a phone, which brings us to today's sponsor, CoverOn. CoverOn is an identity theft
that was
and
a
financial
pretty
scam
good,
protection
like,
service.
smooth
It watches the dark web
ad
as well as
read.
your credit and
Yeah,
tells
it's a
you
good
early
way
when
to-
your name shows up exactly where it
felt
should.
like as
And when
like
something happens,
ad read,
there's a
just
real
setting
person
up an
there
ad
whose entire job is working your case with you, and there's money behind it. It's up to 50,000. Scan the code on the screen or go to
Talk to their lawyer.
C5. Again, that's coveron.com/C5. All right, back to the video.
So why exactly did the TRO expire? Did you appeal?
I think our lawyers talked to their lawyers, and we basically said like, hey, Ben had all these videos ready, like, because I think one of the main reasons the TRO got approved was because of how crazy they were saying I was going. Like, I read the document. It said I was making bomb threats. It said I was trying to burn the building down and shoot the manager, and not just the manager, but everyone inside the building. You know,
If you don't give it back, I'm going to burn the place down. Or we're going to burn the place down. I'll kill you. It's Ben Snyder who's been the one engaged in this behavior.
I think if you're a court and you hear that, you're like, oh, well, we probably should stop this guy. He's a lunatic. Maybe by stopping this guy, we can save some lives, you know? So you can't really fault the court too much for that. But we know they're lying. They know they're lying. So I think our lawyers are kind of just like, hey, you guys lied to falsely take away Ben's First Amendment right. You guys are now going to be responsible for any damages he occurs because of this. And every day that passes is lost revenue from the videos he can't put out. So at that point, I think Bricks and Minifigs was kind of like, oh, like they were contacting the judge, like, please give him his freedom of speech back. Like, we don't want to be responsible for these damages.
Whoa.
I think that's what happened. That's kind of what the lawyers told me, but I wasn't involved in that conversation. But from my knowledge, that's how it happened.
So what went through your head when you're like, all right, I'm going to publicize these fuckers who are suing me. I'm going to put this on wax. I'm going to go through with a full expose.
Well, they weren't suing me till after the video came out.
Oh, okay. But they were contacting you privately, telling you to stop talking.
This all happened like after the second video got put out.
But you had a TRO before the first video came out.
No, it was after.
Okay. So you decided to just go ham immediately.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because that was part of the first video was like I'm going to get them to sue me. You know, like that was the whole, like, we steal from old people company. I was like, maybe if they sue me, then I can take them to Discovery, you know.
So people don't know, you created a company called We Steal From Old People, and their tagline was Bricks and Minifigs.
Yeah, that's our motto. Yeah.
So you created a motto to permanently corrupt the SEO optimization of this company. So now anytime someone looks them up, it says We Steal From Old People.
Yeah, well, the point was I just really liked their business model. So their business model was they steal from old people. There's like multiple times them doing this. So I was like, well, if they can get away with it and make a bunch of money, maybe I should. So I set up my We Steal From Old People company. And then where did you get the inspiration? Bricks and Minifigs. That's our tagline. And then there's no law that says whether like the company name has to be above or beneath the motto. You know, like there's no like law that says that, you know, so it's just We Steal From Old People and then Bricks and Minifigs. So that's just our motto, you know, like we just take heavy inspiration from them, you know?
It kind of reminds me of whenever you were going up against Scientology and you created your own religion to avoid liability.
Yeah, that's like probably one of my favorite things is just like getting sued and then figuring out ways to get around the lawsuit. But the thinking on that, so they were suing me for defamation.
Scientology.
Yeah.
Very scary organization.
Yeah, because I basically just settled the things that happen inside Scientology. Obviously, I could have gone the route where it's like, it's not defamation if it's true, you know, but then I was living in my car at the time. I couldn't even afford a house. How am I going to afford a lawyer, you know? So I was like, Scientology has millions of dollars for this. Like, even though they're in the wrong, kind of the same thing that's happening here. It's not really who's right wins. It's who has more money wins, you know? And I realized that. So I was like, okay, so how do I...
Ben, realizing it. So, you know, the thing is, though, and again, Scientology, obviously, they're smart. They're just like, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
We're not going to deal with this guy. Whatever.
Well, they're worth like $1 trillion now or something, or like
they're up there. Yeah, they're up there.
Yeah, so it's like, they're like, dude, this is whatever. Like, let him expose whatever he wants. We don't care.
Yeah, it's just like they don't got time to waste like that.
Yeah.
I noticed something with this watch.
Get out of this.
Before. So that idea of having your tagline before your logo is not as rare as you think it is.
Mhm.
Coca-Cola did this for an extremely long time. Their tagline was "Enjoy Coca-Cola." So it's not as uncommon as you might think to have the tagline in front, and for it to be a little confusing because that's it confusing to people.
Yeah. I do gotta hop out and prep for my stream. Okay.
All right, man.
But again, thanks for having me, man. I missed it, even though like it's tiring at times, but I do miss coming on the stream here.
No, man,
it's awesome.
it's all
Especially
good. Yeah.
punking.
We're gonna be back. We're gonna be back at it tomorrow. So and on Saturday. So yeah, we're gonna be back at it tomorrow on Saturday, and then Sunday's off as usual. But we're gonna get back into the grind. So
yeah, I have so many things going on tomorrow, man.
Well, if you can, don't worry about it, man. I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
No,
man.
I plan on streaming, but it's like there's so many things happening tomorrow. It's just like I don't know when I'm gonna do it.
We got some plans tomorrow too.
Sick.
The side project we're working on. So.
All right, everybody. Thanks for having me.
All right, man.
I'm out.
All right, later, brother. Thank you for coming on. Peace.
Yeah.
It's easier than like
we'll go over a little bit more of this, and then we'll probably wrap up for the night too, and then
Hiring
y'all
lawyers and
can go
stuff.
raid. Y'all can go raid Relic stream.
I was like, well, I could create my own religion. Well, I looked into what Scientology does. So one of the things I experienced was they'll put you in a sauna for like 8 hours a day, right? And they can say that it's healthy to be in a sauna for this long, even though people literally will die doing this. And so normally
that's not why they're doing it. That's not what they're doing it. That's something, police do this too. If you guys are familiar with like police, they'll use this as a tactic during interrogations. They'll turn up the heat in a room to make people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's a psychological tactic. It's, to give them discomfort, to give them, to also make it easier for them to interrogate them. Yeah. So it's just like, and to kind of like, for them to crack, but also, obviously for Scientologists, it's going to make it easier for them to, manipulate people, by, for one, giving them discomfort, it gets their defenses down. They're going to be more agreeable because they want to get the fuck out of that room. They probably want to get the fuck out of that room. So,
the family could come and sue and be like, hey, you told us to go, it was healthy to be in a sauna for 8 hours a day. That's false advertising. And normally I could.
No, it's just
sue, but no one can sue Scientology for this because they're a religion. They believe that it's healthy, So they're like, well, that's just what we believe. And
nah, that's way too long to spend in a sauna. Thank you. That came out wrong. Appreciate you sending the 5. Appreciate the support. Bam wants people to stop talking. I hope all the creators keep at it for that reason. I get that it's probably tiring though. It can be, but at the same time, again, it's not. So the subject matter, again, it's almost like, and I think Punk King has said this before, you kind of get a little bit obsessed, with it, right? It becomes a little bit of an obsession to a certain degree. I mean, obviously we're invested because we want to see, again, we want to see accountability. We want to see people get justice. So that's what we keep in mind, but it can get tiring just trying to keep up with all the stuff that comes out. But you just got to try to put your best foot forward and get as much done as you can. That's it. That's all you can do.
The community's awesome, by the way. I've got
I think so
cool people from this, and the folks in the chat always have like the best things to talk about.
The chat is always fun.
Awesome.
The chat is always fun. Well, yeah, that's how we ended up meeting Punk King was because of this. So it's been great. We're in good company.
If I sue them for what they believe in, that's discriminating them against their religion. So I was like, why don't I just Uno reverse them? I'm going to do the same thing. I made the Church of Scientology sucks. We just believe that Scientology sucks. So now if I say that, they can't sue me for that because that's just what I believe in. If you sue me for what I believe in, you're discriminating me against my religion.
So you have to have a god, technically?
Yeah, we believe in the giant plunger in the sky. Well, we were like, if they can believe in a giant alien in the sky, that a science fiction writer, wrote about it. It should be obvious that it doesn't exist. So I was like, I'm going to make something even more blatant.
What is that? Is that like is that you are? What is that? It was like a vacuum cleaner sounded like.
Only obvious it doesn't exist. Like the giant plunger in the sky. I think that was based off like the Area 51 thing when I think you were there when.
Or is that you? Is that your?
Probably. I don't hear anything but here.
I don't know. Let's see.
We did the giant plunger thing. I like led the raid with the plunger and.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's the first time that we met.
Is my only tattoo I have is the plunger cross.
Hell yeah.
I did a really bad job. We did like a prison tat where you like dip a needle in ink and stab yourself. So I did a really bad job. It's like the worst tattoo in the world probably, but.
Yeah, I think it's pretty legendary given the backstory.
Yeah.
So you told me that was your first video, the Area 51 raid?
I think so. I mean, I had a couple of videos before that, but they were all just like slackline videos. That was my first video that wasn't about slacklining.
How was the tournament in Mexico?
Oh, that was fun. I went there for a slacklining tournament, not to escape the warrants because that would be illegal for me to do that. So yeah, that's the whole reason I went to Mexico was the slacklining thing. It wasn't like I just did that also while I was in Mexico escaping the police. It was just, that's why I was there.
Well, I'm in Mexico now, and the American police have no authority here.
What were those warrants for?
What was it? I think it was the
Ben
one where I
clarifies.
threatened to
I
shoot
wasn't
and kill
really-
everyone inside the building. It was the
Ben is like, I wasn't really leaving. I wasn't really leaving.
extortion case or the criminal obstruction.
And just to clarify, this relates to bricks and minifigs.
Yeah, and that's
Okay,
not.
I was like, is there a third thing?
Well, that in my last video, Ammon, the CEO, said that I went into the building and I was gonna shoot everyone if they didn't give the Legos back and burn down the building. And so that's what my warrant was for the commercial obstruction, and then also for not leaving when they asked me to leave. Even though in the footage you can see that I do leave when they ask me to leave. So those were the two things they were trying to get me on. And yeah, just so luckily I was in Mexico. It's not that I escaped to Mexico because that would have been very illegal for me. So I was just there for the slacklining competition.
No, I remember because I've met a lot of different content creators throughout the years. And it's kind of sad to see how a lot of people come and go. They try, they don't give it their all. Or maybe they give it their all for 6 months and it doesn't pan out the way they expected it to. And you kind of never see them again. They work.
What was that, Pun?
So I think there's a detail here most people don't know. He traveled with one of the slackliners that was in the competition as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's a joke. I think he really had always planned on going there.
Going to the slackline, yeah.
Yeah, I think that had been scheduled for a while, and it wasn't like he traveled himself there and it's like, oh, there's a slacklining competition. He traveled with a friend who competed there.
Also, just yeah. No, and that's what I mean. It's just it's good to get clarification. Whether he's joking or not, I mean, I think it's fine because I mean, he did end up competing. So, I think obviously, and that's the thing. Ben has that way of joking where where you look at it. I know some people would look at it and be like, "Is he joking or isn't he?" But I
was like, "Is he?"
Pretty obvious. I think it's pretty obvious though. He says things in a very sarcastic when he says things in a very sarcastic way that he's joking. So
this one is actually kind of an interesting thing because they had made the joke and then unmade the joke several times.
Yeah.
And one of the times that they had said it as if it wasn't a joke, they were in DC at that concert. And people had started talking about it because it was like, oh, he showed up at this concert and they had pictures of him on stage.
Yeah.
And so there was various, things back and forth about joking, but you can actually go to his friend's Instagram and she has pictures of them boarding the plane and whatnot. So it's funny because you can start to get the things behind the scenes here and there, but this was interesting to me because he legitimately traveled with someone that was competing there. This was definitely all him going to a slacklining competition.
Yeah. So there you have it. There you go. Ben was telling the truth. You gotta change his name to Honest Ben. All right, we'll go through a little bit more and then we'll wrap up for tonight.
A corporate job, and shout out to them for even trying in the first place. But you're one of those people that I just kept seeing over time, and I kept seeing you do really sick shit as time went on. I think the Scientology moment was the first one where I was like, oh, this guy is not just a prankster or a typical influencer kid that I would have met at somewhere like Area 51. And then I saw the McKay Manor stuff and I was like, damn, this dude is really trying as hard as he can. And one of my favorite quotes of yours is not about skill or talent necessarily. It's about persistence.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
And I
yeah.
feel like I agree with you. People are like, "You're so good at interviewing." I'm like, I'm actually not that good at interviewing. I just do it all the time, and I haven't stopped. And so I feel like you've steadily like tried to make actual change with your stuff. Like I feel like you think Scientology is a messed up organization.
Oh yeah.
You thought McKay Manor was pretty messed up.
Yeah.
And I feel like you think the same thing
Well,
about Bricks and Minifigs.
Not when I first started McKay. I actually thought McKay Manor was cool when I first did it. I just want to do like a cool like challenge. You know, I love challenging myself because he's advertising there's like a 2-mile zip line, like a giant bungee jump. Like you said, there was going to be like a half-mile like underwater haunted house that you'd go through underwater. Like it seemed like awesome. You know, I was like, I'm down.
Somewhere deep in Southern California, there's a place that brings your worst nightmares to life.
Oh boy.
The exact location is a closely guarded secret. It is the most extreme horror experience on the planet, where people's deepest fears become reality.
What's up, Aura?
That was an intense place. They could like beat the shit out of you there, McCamey Manor.
Yeah. Yeah, I already told me about it. I have to watch that video of his.
They can't show the footage. It was like there's people getting their ass beat. Like that's what that is.
People want to do this, and I provide it.
And then I got there and it turns out the whole thing was a scam.
This is the fun stuff. Really?
Yeah. It was just boring.
So your issue with McKay Manor wasn't that you think like the waterboarding and the electricity stuff they're doing is messed up. You thought it was a letdown and false advertising.
Yeah.
So so to clarify, you wanted it to be worse.
Well, I wanted it to be fun. I wanted it to be what he advertised.
It's not fun for everybody.
So what he does is he fakes having a haunted house, and then he'll hire like people to like beat you up and stuff, and like waterboard you and stuff. And then at that point, it just becomes like torture, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
I could see like a world where it's like, okay, like there's this really fun stunt, and I happen to get hurt doing this stunt, but that wasn't what was supposed to happen. Like the stunt was supposed to be like a giant zip line or something, a giant bungee jump, you know, something like, and if I happen to get hurt, then that was an accident, you know? But what McCamey Manor does is I think he has like,
yeah, and that's what I was saying. It's one of those things based on the subject matter of the video. That's what could get you basically blacklisted on YouTube, and why certain videos won't get demonetized, and even videos that again aren't in violation of terms of service, they'll just automatically get dinged if your channel has had a history of content that they have deemed not advertiser friendly, or they put limited ads on. We did go over some of the updates. Rose, appreciate you. If there's a new one that just came out within the last half hour, I could check to see, but I believe we did go over the latest update. Hope is not a legitimate business strategy with BAM's owners say to. We did see this, but we didn't get a chance to go over it, but we will probably go over this tomorrow on stream. So we're trying to keep up. Oh, go ahead.
This is an opportunity to address this. Like I've just wanted to say this, like casually dropping like, hey, there's some Slack conversation in this. Like that's the headline.
Yeah, I've heard that they reconstructed some Slack conversations. So that's definitely something we'll probably go over.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it does sound interesting. See what we can get out of that. We can glean from that information, but what? I have no idea what that person's talking about. I just thought that was funny. But anyways, we'll go ahead and wrap it here for the night. Appreciate Punking and Relic joining us. Relic will be starting up his stream pretty soon. I'll go ahead and link it here in the chat for those of you that want to go ahead and raid his stream right after ours here. He's starting, I think, at 11:30. So if you guys want to go and hit that man up, show him some support. We'll be back tomorrow with another stream for you guys. The next couple of days, we'll probably stream a little bit longer than we to make up for the lack of streams this week. We've just been busy, but it's looking like Wednesdays and Sundays we probably won't be able to. Well, Sundays we never stream, but Wednesdays will probably be the other day that we probably don't stream for the foreseeable future here, because we're just going to be so busy with work stuff. But every other day we'll probably be streaming as per usual, unless something happens that we can't. So if you're subbed to the channel, be sure to have the notifications on because we always post it in the community post. But for those of you that are joining us here for the first time, hope you will subscribe and hit the notifications so you don't miss videos or streams. Again, thank you, Punk King. You're the man. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Dream Daddy.
We missed you. We missed you, man.
Well, thanks. I don't just have the power of the pun. I have the power of the 3-wolf moon.
Beautiful. So with that, we'll go ahead and play the outro song here. Appreciate you all. Catch you guys on the next stream. You guys have a fantastic night. We'll see you all tomorrow.